Will the gatherings of the underground church be compromised? There's two elements of this. One is that there's a number of cultural supports in place that make it easy to look Christian, easy to pass a bunch of tests. Is that person a real Christian? Well, they come on Sunday and they tithe and they this and they do the other thing. Yeah, even if you don't know them deeply as a person, you're likely to accept what they present superficially. Secondly, there will be immense pressure from both the government and the state church um, to compromise, and the compromises are powerful. And I will, rather than give a list of the possible kinds of temptation, I want to give examples of people that might be the Judas in your Esser. So let's talk about the ways that the current, less persecuted situation creates opportunities for people that might otherwise be Judases to not have a temptation. So first of all, we talked about how the existence of big popular denominational churches some creates a situation where someone who enjoys the culture of Christianity but may or may not have a relationship with Jesus can come in and do all the virtue signaling necessary to be fully accepted and have the social, emotional, relational experience that they want. That is, I think that those that don't want to be known deeply but want the experience of being known socially show up a minute or two after the official starting point and are gone as quickly as possible at the end, and do not make themselves available outside of any loud official big meeting. They don't want to be known by people because underneath their surface is something they don't want you to see. But the virtue signaling that is possible with, I went to church, I dressed nice, I shook hands, I did a big public display of tithing and singing, therefore no one can doubt that I'm a real believer, you take those things away. And you place before that person in the underground church that is avoiding persecution, all those things will get you in trouble. There's no big public anything. Or the state church, which has lost its testimony, but still has a building and lights. And you can go there dressed nice and shake hands and get seen and hobnob with the right people and sing loud, whatever those expurgated hymns are. Um, if there is any tithing in that state church, then you get to do it nice and public. Then maybe that particular Judas found his way into your Esser and is hating all of this lack of virtue signaling and is approached by a representative of the state church and says, yeah, I think we need you in the real church. I think you belong here. We will forgive your dalliances with the underground church, those criminal heretics, if you'll just tell us where the next meeting is. And so there's Judas number one. Judas number two is a person that has always believed that house churches aren't real churches, that they don't represent the full testimony or counsel of God. Now, that could be based on their own extroversion, could be based on their own introverted sensing, but nonetheless, they have this feeling that it's not really quite right or real. And so, in the same way, they're easily drawn away from the center point is pursuing Jesus, but it doesn't have the bells and whistles they want. Third, you have a person that believes bad things don't happen to good people, just like Job's counselors, who were respected, honored men in their community. And so as they begin to see members of their Esser having difficulties with making ends meet, with having enough food in their house, they can convince themselves that this must be wrong because the real God wouldn't allow churches to be in this situation. And therefore, he's tired of this Esther situation where he can't, because he's with a group of people that have not taken the mark, he can't buy and sell things. He wants to start buying and selling things. He thinks this persecution is not in keeping with proper biblical Christianity. And on the same note, that no good Christian will ever have any trouble with the law. I assure you, in the end times, believers will have trouble with the law. For the time period there is a law. A lot of civil infrastructure will break down, but the one world government will have militaristic or paramilitaristic forces to quell uprisings and perhaps to hunt those that are most obviously flaunting the rule of the one world government, such as those who are connecting Essers with resources. I don't want any end times church, I don't want any end times Esser to be betrayed by a Judas. Rather, I want you to ask yourself all these questions and say, am I prepared when these changes occur in our world? Will I be faithful to God? Will I be faithful to meet with his people in the capacity that is possible? Will I suffer through denial of some of the things that are my wants and needs to be faithful to God, and will I help others do so? If I have blessed you, encouraged you, or equipped you in any fashion, please bless me by liking and subscribing.